That's true. Now, I'm sure that those who are listening are saying, "Okay, Prima, I see what it is that you're saying, but
Mm-hmm.
does how can the two come to an agreement where,
Mm-hmm.
let's say, and I can see that where the person, because they're an entrepreneur, he's an entrepreneur, right, and his significant other is an entrepreneur too. Now you have two entrepreneurs in the mind in the household. Both of them are looking for, next goals, next vision, and how do they work together and still make
Mm-hmm.
this happen? Where
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't have to feel where she comes in and she has to play the submissive game, if that makes sense. Like, how
It
does she
does.
come
It
into
does.
the space
Mm-hmm.
and where both of them can be the power couple? It's okay to be a power
Yeah.
couple. How do they make it work out?
Mm. Okay, so I will say to you again, nobody has answers to every marriage. Oprah has no marriage, and what's his name, Dr. What? The guy on Oprah's show, he was divorced how many times? So I want to begin by saying this is my dedication to get all of the answers I can and to keep trying until I die. So
Hmm.
I'm saying this is a disclaimer. I don't have every answer, but my dedication to get you all of the answers can
But
only
you're
be
you're
limited by
working
the
on it.
scars. Yes.
Okay.
But first of all, we are getting married before we fully understand who we are.
Mm.
Now, that in itself is a blind spot. Like when I took my assessment in and out to know who I am, I was like, wow, this is so liberating. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know my very, very serious strengths. I didn't know my deepest weaknesses. I didn't know my communication and how that comes across for people. So for me, every opposite of mine, I was like, really? Like, can't you decide on that real feel? Like, really? Does that have to take you ages to decide? So first of all, you've got to understand you 360. Who are you?
Hmm. Hmm.
What makes you tick? Attach a value to yourself and know that you're not going to settle for less. Same time, understand that people may be different and you don't have to always be the right person. Now,
Mm.
the second thing is understand your spouse. Who did you marry? Because we often attract the opposite. And the mistake we do the moment we get in the marriage, the woman is always thinking, that will change, that will change, that will change. And the man is always thinking, I hope she never changes. I hope she stays in that size. I hope she stays not talking. The man is always hoping, oh, I hope this is her. And then after 3 births, the man is like, where is my wife? And you go to the man thinking, that is going to change. It's a very small thing. That is going to change. That is going to change. No, it's not going to change. And
Yeah, you
as
can't
years
change people.
pile by, no, it's not. And going in a marriage, hoping to change people is the most situation that will really frustrate you because people
Yeah.
do not change. But there are tests that I personally give people where you take the test. I will just give you a dry run. There are 4
Hmm.
characters. Most people have taken the test, most people have not. I did not take this test until 2 years ago. They are dominant characters. They are domineering.
Yeah.
They are really present. They're very aggressive. We have the influencers, the people that inspire others. We have the secure ones, those calm ones that are very systematic and they're very secure and they're very safe. Then we
Hmm.
have the correct, clean, compliant, systematic people. Now,
Hmm.
usually you find an I married to a C, for example, because a C is very clean, very organized, very girly.
Hmm.
Now, the I is the influencer, everybody's friend. Now, they'll go to a wedding or a cocktail party, and the I is the people's people. Everybody's his friend. So he really he's dying to mingle with other people. So he'll reach at the paper and be like, oh, other people. And then he'll start to mingle with everybody. But now the
Hmm.
C is like, how can you leave me like that? She doesn't want to connect with others. She likes it when she's like with one person or nobody. So she's looking at him thinking, did you bring me here to just leave me alone? And the man is like, hey, there's a bunch of people here, mix and mingle. She doesn't mix and mingle. She's not a mix and mingle. So it is really, really absurd. I am a DI. So I appear to be very aggressive. I'll go for what I want. Now, the men that fall for me are always like an SI. Now, if I need to decide, I need to decide right now. Now, that man will take a month to make a decision. They don't like change. Now, give me change, and I'm like, oh, no, let's do it. They don't like change. They are very static to what they want. They are very routine-like timetable. That man could have a sex timetable. Now I'm a very spontaneous person. Bring it on and it's going to happen. Like, I don't like predictability. I don't like routine. I don't like to know what's going to happen. That's how I have my fun. Now, the man I attract, it's going to be sex at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday in the bedroom, on the bed. And that's annoying for me because, okay, like, how fun can that be? So when you pile years down the road, Kara, you find that you're building resentment because you start to say, he's boring. We are not compatible.
It's so important.
You start saying that, we're not compatible. And, as the marriage goes on, you get busy, the kids come in, and you really have to attend to the kids. And the man, doesn't matter how many kids are there, there's an instinct that is always in him that wants attention. He wants the girl he married who used to look at him alone and alone and alone. Now 3 kids are in the middle. Most women have lost the eye for the man, like for real. It's the kids, and if we're going to have a conversation, it's about the kids. So you wake up one day.
It becomes children first.
You wake up one day and you have a roommate. These kids are going to grow up, and you wake up and you have no idea who you married because the man is just staring at you like, who are you? And you're like, okay,
and
who
that
am
happens.
I?
Yeah,
what happens is after 15 years, when the babies are like, no, mom, really space. You wake up and realize people don't need me as much. Your husband has actually moved on. He's probably have like a campuser or a younger girl exciting him, or he's probably gotten married to the beer, whatever it is he decided to do as you were busy growing the babies. That's why most women at 15 years of marriage will wake up and say, no, this is going to end, divorce. Because there's nothing totally happening for them as a couple. So when you understand who you're married to,
the relationship wasn't nurtured.
Yeah, Kara, when you understand who you're married to, when you understand his strength, when you understand his weaknesses, when you understand what he can do and what he cannot do, then you stop embarrassing yourself and frustrating yourself over things he actually cannot do. When you understand what a man needs and what you need, and when you understand that by giving the man what he needs, you get what you need, it stops being submission. If most women understood the importance of sex for a man, they would read a book about how do I start to want sex every day. Because if a man doesn't have sex, he'll die. Eventually, he'll die. He'll become cranky, he will resent you, and he could die. And I said that women, they laugh, but it's true. Now, most women don't understand the importance of sex to men. They don't. You're just being funny. It's not just sex. That man doesn't have that sex, he'll die or he'll go get it somewhere else. But most women are like, really? I have things to do. I have a business to run. I have kids to... Come on. He's not going to come on. He's going to...
So let me ask you this. You're saying this, that there are studies out there now that state that if he doesn't have that relationship with someone, that he dies. Have you seen that somewhere?
Okay. For me, the way I have been speaking to men, there are things he needs that may be annoying for women. Like for him, there are things that he'll need, and he knows if he doesn't have them, there's no way he's surviving. It's the same as if you came back home every day and you didn't feel safety. If you didn't feel like really someone admired you, if you didn't feel like someone was giving you affection, if you didn't feel appreciated, if someone was unable to listen to you and all your problems had to boil inside you, you cannot hold it. Like you want to have conversation. Let's talk. I want to talk. And the man is like, talk about what? He doesn't understand why you have to talk. And what's funny is when we want to talk normally, we just want to ramble. We don't want a solution. We just want to talk and get it out. Now, a man does not understand why he should listen to you unless you're asking him to solve the problem. And we're like, what? I don't want you to solve my problems. Just listen. And he's like, are you crazy? Why would I listen without wanting to solve? Because in men, they don't do that. They don't listen to anything unless they're able to solve it. So you can imagine if you had to speak and speak and speak, and he was like, woman, no, 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 no. If you never spoke to your husband, how that would kill you. That's the same thing that happens when you don't have sex with him. For whatever reason, he begins to say, okay. Then he gets cranky. Then he starts to drink. Then, depending on the magnitude, he'll find a solution, porn, a second girlfriend, or whatever. But he's got to get whatever is in him out, and that is it. Now, you can be disgusted, or you can give him that to provide for his need.
So let me tell you, so for sure, just to make sure you put a disclaimer in there, this is off record, so I'll take this off, that this is not for every man, because you didn't, and then this is, of course, adds to maturity, and the part that, let's say a person is sick, a woman is sick with cancer, that we don't want to bring it across as if he'll go and have, outer marriage situation. So just kind of like ensure that you put your disclaimers in there. All right, 3, 2, 1. Go ahead.
Sure. For sure, that's not for every man, because I have not interviewed every man in the world. But I can tell you, my interviews have done like 90% of all of the men, and that's true. But also that depends on what extent are you meeting the other needs. Some things will pass if you're understanding what he needs and you're providing that. Bad sex will pass, by the way, if a woman feels that she's getting a lot of things. Your bad sex or lack of erection, for a better word, whatever it is, your 1 minute, whatever span, it will pass if you're doing other things correctly. But if everything is going south, even the one thing like throwing your socks down will erupt into a fight. So the point I'm really getting at is, I want you to look at a man and understand what he needs, but most importantly, what does each provide for him? And when you're asking him to do something, explain to him, what does that provide you? If I just sit in front of you and listen, and you just talk and talk and talk, what does that provide you? When he understands what that provides for you, he's willing to do it, even if it's uncomfortable. Once he knows if she talks and talks and talks, okay, then I'm going to get a happy woman who is willing to love me, and okay, I may be able to do that. When you can understand what sex gives him, you will create the mood for it. You won't need to depend on biology to be in the mood. You'll be like, okay, when my husband gets sex, he's the provider, and then he listens to me, and then he does this, and oh my God, I want to give that. People can do something to provide for you, even if that's straight boring for them. But it's important that you know what it is that they need, because most of us don't. We get married, like I can tell you, Carla, people get married, and it's like you want to shop tomatoes. People don't do work. Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Now, I'm sure there's some out there that says, well, why should I be focused on giving him everything he needs when he doesn't give me everything that I need, right, as a woman? So, or as a partner, however you want to look at it. But how do you reply to that statement for the, you know what I'm saying? So the person can say, well, you're part of the relationship, you're part of the marriage. One person is giving, one person is not giving. How to move from that space in the relationship so that we can have it all, right? As a business owner, as a relationship, as part of relationship, as mom, whatever, all the things that female entrepreneurs have to deal with.
So I have also dealt with women that are feminists or human rights. So there is that woman that really doesn't want to do the work, but it begins with you, Carla. I don't care where you are. It's going to be you that starts the transformation. You've got to say, my needs are important enough. So now for me, the way I started to learn these things is my happiness is important for me. Now, if I am going to be in a relationship, I want it to be rosy. Now, I do not want anything average in my life. I don't want a mediocre business. I don't want a mediocre marriage. I don't want mediocre kids. And the only thing I can do is do the work. Because I don't know where that man came from. I don't know his history. I don't know his family. I do not know him. I am going to work on me. And when you work on you, you become like a mirror. People treat you the way you treat yourself. So and I want to tell people, what you sow is what you reap. When that man comes to me to have a relationship, the man that is annoying you right now, Say he hooked up with me and we were to have a relation, you would see the man you've never seen. Because what you put in someone is what you get. There's no one who is going to come and you are getting his needs met and he decides to be cranky and bad to you. Because that's not how human nature works. And when you meet these people before you married them, you can agree with me that it was nice. It was rosy. Otherwise, you wouldn't say I do. That is because you hadn't started piling up anger. You hadn't started being bad to each other. That went down the road because, number one, communication phased out, like you guys stopped talking. Number two, you most likely don't know yourself 360, and neither do you have a chance of knowing your spouse. Number three, you don't know your love language. You do not know his love language. And number four, you're listening to everybody that doesn't know anything about men.
So let me ask you this. So if a person has to start, okay, so you're telling you're sharing some great stuff here. So they want to ensure that their relationship with their mate is great. Where do they start? I know you mentioned about, work with yourself first, but, and I know you mentioned, of course, the finding out the language, but how do they start? How do they need to connect with you? First of all, how does a person connect with you? So if they can start
my website is Prima's Hub. I think it's a little complicated for me to say it, but I'll be happy to share it with them. But Prima's Hub.com, understanding men. But the first place to start is really agreeing that what you're doing is not working. You've been told things, you have learned things, you have read things, you've spoken with your girlfriends who, by the way, have no idea about men. And so far, you have knowledge that is aiding you where you are. So the first step is acknowledging that really I'm not saying your relationship is like bottom rock. I'm just saying, is it where you want it? Now, if the answer is yes, we have really no business being here. But if the relationship is not where you want it, then the first thing to accept is, okay, what I know, what I'm applying right now is not working. And it's hard. Because everybody has reasons why they've done the best. Just know it's not working and you've not done your best. You may have done your best, but it's not working. So maybe your best is not the best for your marriage. Okay? So
the first thing, I don't mean to cut you, but this is a good point that you shared here. You have to acknowledge.
Yeah.
Then you have to accept that there needs to be some change.